So 250 years ago, right now, the revolution was well underway. The American Revolution had been started. The Continental Congress was meeting in this building, Independence Hall. And one thing I've been doing every day is just checking letters that the Founding Fathers wrote back and forth to each other. So I figured I'd check today and see if I find anything interesting and share it with you. I've got my laptop right here. So I'm gonna be looking down and checking for letters. Okay, we're a day late, but let's do it anyway. On June 21st, there were 3 letters. One from John Adams to James Warren, from John Adams to James Warren again, and to John Adams from John Winthrop. So let's do the first letter from John Adams to James Warren. Okay. Dear Sir, Major Mifflin goes in the character of aide-de-camp to General Washington. I wish you to be acquainted with him because he has great spirit, activity, and abilities, both in civil and military life. He is a gentleman of education, family, and fortune. C and H and P have given us a great deal of trouble in the election of Lee, and I expect will avail themselves of all the whims and prejudices of our people. We are like to have more trouble of the like kind in the choice of the brigadiers general. Old Pomeroy must be the first P to do him justice, has renounced his connections in this instance. I read that wrong. Old Pomeroy must be the first. P, to do him justice, has renounced his connections in this instance. He declares he can't and won't vote for him. I had rather vote for Preble in his bed. I expect our people, when they come to know the pay of the general officers and others, will grumble. Adams, Payne, and I fought against it totus viribus, but in vain. It is amazingly high, but the southern geniuses think it vastly too low. Farewell. Here's an interesting footnote. Thomas Mifflin, by the way, there's a fort in Philadelphia near the airport called Fort Mifflin. Thomas Mifflin was recognized very early by John Adams and others for his ability and devotion to the patriot cause. His bravery and military knowledge brought a rapid rise in rank. Appointed as Washington's aide-de-camp on 23rd of June, he became a colonel on 22nd of December, a brigadier general on 16th of May, 1776, and a major general on 19th February, 1777. His conduct, however, as quartermaster general, a post he held from August 1775 to March 1778, brought dissatisfaction and caused him to leave the army. Let's read another one. Seth Pomeroy, who had played an active role in military affairs for Massachusetts since the expedition against Louisburg, appointed 3rd in command of Massachusetts forces under Jedediah Preble and Artemus Ward in 1774. He was most active in raising and drilling troops in western Massachusetts during 1775 and 1776. Although appointed 1st Brigadier General in the Continental Army on 22nd of June, he apparently never served in that capacity. There you go. Let's look at the next letter from John Adams to Joseph Warren. So the first one was to James Warren, and this letter is to Joseph Warren. Dear Sir, this letter, I presume, will be delivered into your hand by the General. He proposes to set out tomorrow for your camp. Godspeed him. Lee is 2nd Major General. Schuyler, who is to command at New York, is the 3rd, and Putnam the 4th. How many brigadier generals we shall have, whether 5, 7, or 8, is not determined, nor who they shall be. 1 from New Hampshire, 1 from Rhode Island, 2 from Connecticut, 1 from New York, and 3 from Massachusetts, perhaps. I am almost impatient to be at Cambridge. We shall maintain a good army for you. I expect to hear of Grumbletonians. I expect to hear of Grumbletonians, some from parsimonious and others from superstitious prejudices. But we do the best we can and leave the event. How do you like your government? Does it make or remove difficulties? I wish we were nearer to you. The Tories lie very low both here and at New York. The latter will very soon be as deep as any colony. We have Major Skeen a prisoner, enlarged a little on his parole, a very great tool. I hope Governor Tryon will be taken care of. But we find a great many bundles of weak nerves. We are obliged to be as delicate and soft and modest and humble as possible. Pray stir up every man who has a quill to write me. We want to know the number of your army, a list of your officers, a state of your government, the distresses of Boston, the condition of the enemy, etc. I am, Dr. Sir, your friend, John Adams. We have all recommended Billy Tudor for secretary to the general. Will he make a good one? This moment informed the powder arrived here. 500 barrels, they say. We must send it along to you. And here's some footnotes. Let's read this second footnote. Philip Skeen was formerly a major in the British Army, colonel in the New York militia, proprietor of Skeen's Borough on the shores of Lake Champlain, and in 1775, the newly appointed lieutenant governor of Ticonderoga and Crown Point, and inspector of lands for Quebec, and authorization to raise a regiment. By the time he arrived in America, however, Ticonderoga had been taken. Skeen's mission represented to the northern colonies a threatening move by the ministry, resulting in his arrest when he landed in Philadelphia on 7th of June. John Adams was more directly involved in this affair than he indicates in this letter. See John Adams' service to Congress, 10th of May to 1st of August above. On 27th of June, probably because Skeen was dangerously close to the seat of government, the Congress ordered him sent to Connecticut to be put under the supervision of Governor Trumbull, where after some time in prison, he was exchanged for James Lovell on 7th of October, 1776. Okay, and the final letter for today to John Adams from John Winthrop. This one's a little long, but let's get through it. Dear Sir, I received your favor of 29th by I'm not sure how to say that. Let me start over. I received your favor of May 29th by Messrs. Halls. I was much concerned that I had it not in my power to treat those young gentlemen with as much respect as their characters and your recommendation entitled them to. When your letter was delivered to me, which was but a few days ago, we were all in the utmost hurry, packing up the library and apparatus for their removal to a distance in the country for safety, in consequence of an order of the Provincial Congress which was sent us that day, so that the young gentlemen could only take a transient view of things as they lay in confusion. It was then universally expected that there would be an action in a day or two, which happened accordingly. The night following, a body of our men were sent to throw up the entrenchment on a hill in Charlestown. As soon as the daylight appeared, they were discovered and fired upon by the men of war and battery on Copp's Hill. That day, the 17th instant, exhibited a most shocking spectacle. About 2 afternoon, a large body of regulars were carried over to Charlestown, and at 4 in the afternoon, the men of war's boats set fire to the town in different places, which in a few hours was burnt to the ground. When it was all in flames, they attacked our entrenchment, which was very imperfect, being only the work of a few hours, but they were vigorously opposed, and a hot engagement ensued, which lasted above an hour, in which numbers fell. When our soldiers had fired away almost all their cartridges, and the regulars were entering The entrenchment with their bayonets charged, and an incessant fire of artillery kept them on all sides from the men of war and floating batteries. Our people retreated and left them in possession of the hill. This advantage they probably purchased dear, though what their loss was we may never know exactly. 'Tis affirmed their dead were seen lying in heaps on the ground. Our loss was considerable, but being now above 20 miles from the scene of action, I cannot give you any particular information about it. We lost some very good officers, but none is more universally lamented than our friend Dr. Warren, who had been appointed a major general but a day or two before. I own I was sorry when I heard of this appointment, because I thought a man so much better qualified to act in other capacities than most are ought not to be exposed in this way, unless in case of necessity. But his zeal hurried him on, and he was killed in the entrenchment soon after he got there. We are now involved in all the horrors of war. We are every moment expecting to hear of another action. Is it not necessary, sir, that our army should be effectually supported in order to bring this cruel war to a speedy and fortunate issue, especially as there is no immediate prospect of war in any other part of America, and a vigorous support there may probably prevent its spreading to other colonies? I am surprised to find you have so little intelligence from hence. I thought there had been a constant intercourse kept up between the provincial and continental congresses. I mentioned this hint of yours to Dr. Warren the evening before that fatal day. He promised that he would write, and put his friends on writing. But alas! My respectful compliments to all friends, particularly the Colonel Hancock and Dr. Franklin. I wrote to the doctor soon after I heard of his arrival, but know not whether he has received my letter. I want much to write to some friends in England, but there is no convenience this way. If Dr. Franklin should be able, with safety, to keep up his correspondence with England, perhaps he might be willing to send my letters with his. If I could know this, I would send them by the way of Philadelphia, but I own I am in great doubt whether it will be prudent or practicable. God Almighty bless your counsels and render them effectual for the preservation of America. Your faithful friend and humble servant. June 22nd, that's today. Since writing of the above, I have received 2 accounts from different hands of the loss on each side. I send them as I had them. I have been also told that the regulars acknowledge 428 killed. Boston almost deserted by inhabitants. Charlestown burnt down. Cambridge, Medford, Salem, Danvers, and Marblehead almost deserted. 'Tis impossible at your distance to conceive of the distress. And let's read this footnote. Because of the presence of Army headquarters in Cambridge, the Provincial Congress on 15th of June commandeered the college buildings and ordered that the library apparatus and other valuables of Harvard College be removed to Andover. So there you go. If you liked that, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.